When Furukawa talks, we all listen. Today in his investors briefing, he gave new details on Nintendo's plans for 2024 and which Switch will be the Switch they focus on. Exciting times as things are brewing to a head. Plus, we've got more Nintendo Direct details. So, good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. There's a ton of sales data and figures about how Nintendo Switch is doing, which games perform well. That's all going to be in a separate video, because here I want to focus on what I find to be most important, Furukawa's comments. So what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. If you're new here, welcome aboard. Let me know what you think about Furukawa and, well, not about him. He seems like a great guy, but about his comments in the comments down below. We're kicking it off with this investors briefing. Furukawa, of course, everyone wants to know what's going on with the Switch 2. Rumors are aplenty, leaks are everywhere, people are talking about this system. When is it going to release? Nintendo has not yet had a direct. They don't have many games announced for this year. They have very few dates beyond Mario vs. Donkey Kong and Princess Peach Showtime. What's going on? Now, it's really important that I set the stage for you and let you know that the fiscal year for Nintendo begins after March. So when we're talking about 2024 for Nintendo, they're thinking of like, not yet. They're thinking of like March, April. That's their start of 2024. So when Furukawa was asked about what Nintendo's plans are for 2024, he said that the current Nintendo Switch will be their, quote, main business heading into 2024. Main business heading into 2024. So as they approach the fiscal year rollover in late March, April, then we will know that they are focusing on the Switch 1. Very interesting that he said heading into and main business. He didn't say only business, and he didn't say for 2024. He said heading into, because we know, and Furukawa is basically alluding that the business is going to shift. Now, I firmly believe that Switch 1 will be their main business, and I think this is very interesting to consider because there's 140 million Switch out there, and so even if the Switch 2 launches and sells 5, 10, 15, 20 million, what's their main business? What is generating the most profit? What is generating the most software sales? What is generating the most moolah for these investors? The Switch 1. Like, that is going to be their main business for the foreseeable future until Switch 2, right, really gets a foothold and really starts taking on full motion and the Switch 1 really winds down. But depending on how they handle cross-gen games, that could be a while out. But heading into 2024 is the most interesting piece here because he's saying, hey, come March, April, yeah, it's Switch 1. But later in 2024, we don't know. And he also said that they would reveal the rest of 2024's plans at the next investors briefing in May. Now, I've seen this be discussed online that, oh gosh, we're getting the Switch 2 reveal then in May. But that's not necessarily true. Furukawa is just saying that he'll talk to investors next in May. Therefore, his next plan will have to be in May, right? Like, he can't, there's not going to be a magical surprise investors meeting in April if they announce the Switch 2 then, or in March if they announce the Switch 2 then. He's just saying that definitely at the next investors briefing, we'll talk about the rest of our year plan. And that, again, is just such a big hint at, like, there is something big for the rest of our year that we can't yet talk to you about. So, like, fingers crossed, promise you in May, we will give you those details. All of this leads up to what I feel like we all already know, whether you want to believe it or not, which is that a Switch 2 is coming in 2024. And Furukawa is dancing around it in a way that he can without lying to the investors while still being truthful, but also providing a window into what exactly is going down. Heading into 2024, main business, wait for May. These are all clues and indicators that something big is about to be revealed and something big is coming soon. We know in the past that Furukawa has declined comment entirely. We know in the past that Furukawa has said, like, all of our focus right now is on Nintendo Switch. This is different. This is a shift in verbal strategy, in his speech, and in his way of grammatically jousting with the investors to say heading into. And again, as I mentioned, it's important to remember that heading into 2024 is not January, what's already transpired, but it's March and April. And yeah, there's going to be no Switch 2 by March or April. Even if it's announced, the Switch 1 is still the focus. They got to get out Princess Peach, they got to get out Paper Mario, they got to get out Luigi's Mansion 2, all the above. Metroid Prime 4 is still sitting there as a TBA game, But other than that, we don't know their plans. So this really does speak to a year where they are very, very locked in right now to what's directly in front of them. Because why? Is it because they're waiting for a big Zelda game and want to give all the focus to their main IP? No. It's because there is a huge, massive hardware that has not yet been announced and that will be taking up most of Nintendo's time, marketing, money, and efforts in 2024, and they just can't tell investors about it yet. So I think that is all great news. If you were expecting Furukawa to announce the Switch 2 or comment on it, he wasn't going to. This is the best case scenario based on what he could say and what was possible. I like what he said. I think it lines up with everything we've heard and believe, and it really is going to be the year of Nintendo Switch 2. Now, the year of Switch 1 still has a lot of question marks, and it seems like that is going to be answered next week. We did not get a Nintendo Direct announcement today, and now we also have Necrophilippe from Universo Nintendo on the trail saying that next week is when the Nintendo Direct should take place. And he responded specifically to an individual asking about the date and put 15. 15 being February 15th, next Thursday. It would make sense for Nintendo to launch the Direct next Wednesday, February 14th, but given that that's Valentine's Day and people are busy eating chocolate and smelling flowers, they may not have as much time to devote to the Nintendo Direct. That's why Thursday is what Necrophilippe is saying. And this lines up with what we talked about yesterday, where Nate Drake was saying, oh, it's not going to be this week, and we didn't get a tweet. So it felt like it was going to be this week. There were definitely sources that said this week. That was the most logical answer for a Nintendo Direct. But for some reason, Nintendo is waiting to next week, and it really does feel like that reason is Phil Spencer's briefing on the business update for Xbox. As you know, there's been a lot of to-do about Microsoft and Xbox going multi-platform, bringing games like Starfield, Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, even Indiana Jones and the Great Circle to PlayStation, Nintendo Switch 2, other platforms. And yesterday, Phil Spencer announced there will be a business update next week, highlighting their strategy and plans going forward. It feels like Hi-Fi Rush will be launching on Switch along that time, and so Nintendo's Direct is tied into that Microsoft update and will take place next Thursday, smushed between Valentine's Day and the launch of Mario vs. Donkey Kong. Odd for Nintendo to have a Direct right before a game launch, but all things considered, this is a smaller game launch for Nintendo, and sometimes the calendar just lines up that way. I don't think that what's announced in the Direct is going to take away from those who are going to buy Mario vs. Donkey Kong already, and maybe they can just advertise it even further. Give it a little bump. Mention that the demo is out on the eShop for you to check it out. Perhaps pre-orders are low, and it'll do well to have a Direct the day before. There will be some stealth drop games, it seems like. I would expect Hi-Fi Rush to be one of them, or at least get a very immediate release date. We've heard things about Penny's Big Breakaway, but we'll do full Nintendo Direct predictions as we approach next week. I think you can lock it in now. I think with Nate Hate's comments, Necrophilippe basically saying the Direct is the 15th, and now we know that the investors meeting has taken place. There was not a Direct announcement for today leading into tomorrow. It's like next week or bust. February then leads into March, then leads into the Switch 2 potential reveal season, and I'm very curious to see what Nintendo does. They are obviously incredibly successful, but they clearly are turning the gears to make the transition to the next console. Furukawa's comments indicate that. The Switch current lineup indicates that. The spooky mystery of the release calendar and the mysterious no appearance of Metroid Prime 4 that could indeed finally show up next week at the Direct does indicate that things are in motion, in my opinion, for the next console. And I think Furukawa gave you the best Nintendo evidence yet that no, this isn't just Bloomberg, this isn't just insiders, this isn't just YouTubers, this is President Furukawa, the head of Nintendo, saying our main business, not our only, heading into, not for all of 2024. And we'll tell you more about our plans next investors call. What does that all equal? It lines up to equal a new console. I can't wait to freaking play the heck out of that thing with all of you and explore, investigate, and uncover a brand new era of Nintendo. Think back to Switch 1 when it came out, probably like the most fun time of my life. Exploring everything, checking out the eShop, downloading games, trying the Joy-Con, flying on a plane with Zelda. It may not be that crazy this time, but who knows? We've yet to see what Nintendo is innovating with. We've yet to see what they're evolving with, and we've yet to see what they're iterating on. So maybe this console will be just as exciting. If nothing else, the inclusion of more power and better performance, allowing many more multi-platform and third-party games, that alone is insanely exciting and will help bridge the gap to a bold new generation that I feel could be more successful than the current, which is absolutely bananas, as you'll see from the sales, which we'll talk about later. So stay tuned for that video. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Let me know your take in the comments down below. And until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.